Joining me on NTV tonight is the police spokesperson Asan Kasingye, and he's live with us in studio. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
When you
Brian.
see that story, what goes through your mind? You have a person who says he was tortured within your custody.
Fortunately, I've been able to work with the officers who were involved in the arrest, in the detention, and of course for the time that he has been at the Nakasero Hospital, and I've been even able to talk to the medical practitioners. So I have a view of really what took place. When you were seeing it there, because you say, what do I? For me now, I have a background of really what transpired.
Isn't this, for lack of a better word, an indictment on the work that you do, where suspects are fearful of being in custody with you? Yesterday we ran a story where one of the other suspects also said, I've been tortured. They've been displaying all these wounds. What does this mean for you as the police?
Brian, I think we have been able to explain, and you remember we released a press release, and we have been explaining the circumstances under which the other suspects, actually 3 of the 13 suspects that had been taken to Nakawa Magistrates Court, and that was explained. However, when it comes to this particular case, what happened is that I saw the dates that you were able to bring out. It was on the 5th of April that Mr. Geoffrey Byamukama, the mayor, the current mayor actually of Kamwenge,
yes,
town council, was arrested at the offices of land's office on Parliamentary Avenue. He had gone there to meet one of his friends, and we've been tracking, because there were telephone, contacts and conversations and whatever in the involvement in this case of the murder of Kawesi. So he's been a suspect on our radar. Two of our officers who went to arrest him actually identified themselves, arrested him, and they told him that they were taking him to police headquarters in Naguru for some questioning. And because his colleague who was with him, so the officers had introduced himself, so he said, it's okay, since they are taking you to Naguru, and I believe you'll come back. Now, I think on the way, they decided, we are taking you to Jinja at the Narfenya facility. And Mayor Byamukama said, no, you told me you are taking me to police headquarters. Why? How come? Now I'm going to a place that I don't know. And what we have now, because our officers have been arrested, is that what ensued was a commotion within the vehicle. These are 2 officers, and he sustained bruises. Okay?
Those are
I'm
not
coming.
bruises.
I'm coming.
I
am coming, Brian. I am coming.
Wounds that have been inflicted over a period of time.
Brian, I'm coming.
Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time.
No, I'm coming, because what happened is that because this was on the 5th, on the 13th of April, Mr. Byamukama has long-standing medical conditions, which I don't have liberty to explain them, but which aggravated.
What are those medical conditions? Because those are wounds that are not, are not bruises.
No, some of them I am not at liberty to explain them, but I know diabetic conditions can also cause some of the wounds. So what happened is that one of our officers took Mr. Byamukama for treatment at Nakasero Hospital. Now, you cannot say, for example, here, that somebody who is torturing really went and did a precise, surgical cut. That was taken.
That can be possible, Afandi.
It is because
there was a man who got an iron. They can be that precise.
Brian,
let's not get involved.
No, Brian, I am saying
the
officers who did this, who occasioned those bruises that he had originally, have been arrested. They are investigated. They are going to be charged in courts of law.
Does that mean now that you're admitting that indeed he was tortured?
I am saying that he also had long-standing medical conditions which aggravated. You understand? And I think there is also a problem with ethical standards where you are going to operate somebody and you take pictures and you send the pictures out. By the way, let me tell you, Mr. Byamukama Geoffrey has been discharged, as I speak, from Nakasero Hospital. Has been discharged. So you cannot say somebody, I mean, yes, we have seen what has happened, but this was not occasioned by systematic torture of our officers.
The police has spent 30 million shillings to treat Mr. Byamukama. Isn't that an admission on your part that indeed, because of the crimes, for lack of a better word, you have committed on this man, you will pay the bills no matter how much it costs?
One of the reasons why we took him is that we realized that he needed medical attention. And by the way, this medical attention, I have not told you because it is not ethical, okay? Because of the background of what I know of his medical condition. Because I have said he has medical conditions. And this bill you're talking about is treatment of the other medical conditions which he has, which I am not at liberty to explain now. So if you say 30 million shillings for treatment of the wounds, yes, which were occasioned, as I say, by our officers, but of course aggravated by these other medical conditions, the bill has become big.
Moving on to other people.
And remember, he has been there for 1 month.
The other suspects, do they also have aggravated medical conditions? So they have had all these wounds on them inflicted upon them. And is it the same situation?
No,
because they are also claiming that they are at Nalufenya, there's a lot of torture on suspects.
Brian, I explained that situation, and you remember we even had press releases on that on that issue, and 3 of the suspects, one of the suspects whom we have, by the way, you remember we said that even the Uganda Human Rights Commission, okay, and I still insist on that because it has not been challenged. They went there and they had an interface with the suspects, and they said they were not tortured by our officers in the facility.
But
we have opened
the same Human Rights Commission,
yes,
literally ranks you as the #1. You're very notorious when it comes to human rights.
Are we addressing this issue,
a day before Andrew Felix Kawesa was gunned down, he was here discussing police record on human rights torture.
I am not denying that.
Human rights violations.
I am not denying that. We have never denied that some of our officers can go out of the way and commit crimes. Look, we established the Professional Standards Unit, which does investigation on our officers who commit several offenses, professional misconduct, and also other criminal cases. They have been taken to court. Remember, one of the press programs that I had, I called the officer who was in charge of the Professional Standards Unit and explained this. Number 2, we have had even some of our officers, even at the level of DPC, here at Old Kampala, who tortured one of the journalists. Yes. He was taken to court and charged. Number 3.
We can talk about the penalties
hold on.
Time.
Number 3. There was, I think, 3 officers in front of Mukwano industry who tortured one of somebody who had gone to claim, I think, his allowances or whatever. We opened his prosecution to the public, and everybody saw what was happening. We cannot condone, and that's why these 2 officers who occasioned those bruises have been. But at the same time, we need to understand that these medical conditions have also aggravated the condition of Mr. Byamukama, who has been treated by the police and who has been discharged. He will be going back for medical review.
Medical review.
Yes.
Finally, Asan Kasingye, thank you so much for coming. But before you leave, what are you going to charge him? Are there any charges against him right now?
Right now, what I can tell you is that our officers are investigating.
Yes, you're investigating your officers,
but it is in the involvement, his involvement in the suspicion of involvement in the murder of late AIGP Kawesi, his driver, and his bodyguard. That is what I can say as of now.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
We'll, of course, be following that story very closely here on NTV. Make sure you just hashtag NTV News.